We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I could sing, but I can try for your heart. Our dreams, and they are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone loving. Love is the answer, at least, for most of the questions of my heart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pathways to Love. I am your host, Julie Orlov, and we are delighted to bring you another episode on relationships and everything about relationships. I am here and dedicated to helping you create very strong and intimate relationships in every area of your life. And I have been doing this work now. I have to switch it up. I used to say over 24, and the time has come. I have to say over 25. It's a little scary, but I've been doing that. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm an executive coach, speaker, and the author of The Pathway to Love books and programs, and I'm delighted to be with you here again today. So, update news. For those of you who are on my mailing list, you did get an email yesterday, I believe it was, saying that we were going to have a host, Jennifer Tapiero. And actually, Jen has a few shows on LA Talk Live, and unfortunately, she needed to cancel because of all things, she needed to interview Ben Affleck. Can you believe it? We got dumped for Ben Affleck. I'm shocked. So I don't know. I sent her a little text. I said, hey, you and Ben, you guys can call in during your interview. We'll try and fit you in if you give us a call. But I haven't heard back from her yet. So, okay. But we will go on because we have actually a great show for you today. And the topic today is still love and the internet. And there's so many things that I have to say about love and the internet because the internet has really taken over our lives. And every area of our life is impacted by the internet, whether it's how we do our banking, how we communicate with people, how we shop, and certainly actually how we fall in love and how we navigate those relationships. So we're going to explore all of that today. And I am delighted, though, to say that our guest co-host is back with us today, Stephen Tako. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you. Nice to be here today.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you do need a mic. Okay. He is here, really. Okay. I know, and actually, Stephen almost didn't make it today because you were on an acting gig today. So I'm glad it ended so that you can scoot down and be with us today.
Yeah, very glad. Worked on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out, so got to be on Paramount Lot, and happy to be here though today as well.
I feel very honored that he
well, you should.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're on a Paramount set, and this is what happens. Okay. So I wanted to start out our conversation today about Facebook because social media is one of the most important and prevalent places that we conduct our relationships on. So for a second, I wanted to take a look at one, if any of you out there has been impacted by Facebook. And what I'm talking about, have you heard of the reality show Catfish, the TV reality show?
Catfish? No.
Okay, so there was a movie. I apologize. I don't remember the name of the gentleman. I think his first name is Nev. It's Nev somebody. Anyways, he put together this documentary that got a lot of air. I think it was on HBO, and it turned into a regular reality series. Anyways, the concept of the show is people who are not sure. They've fallen in love with someone on Facebook. And they're starting to get uncomfortable vibes about, is this person really who they say they are? So he goes out and he investigates. And, of course, on his show, we don't know what the statistics really are. But on his show, more times than not, the person is not who they say they are. They've put a picture up and they've and I know this happened to, by the way, it happened to a friend of mine. She was telling me the story that he was engaged and involved with a woman on Facebook. They met on Facebook and they were conversing and they were starting to really enjoy each other's company. And at some point, he showed my friend her profile. He says, look, this is the person I'm involved with. And she looked at him and she says, she's a Victoria's Secret model. I saw her on the catalog that arrived in my mailbox not that long ago. And he says, no, it can't be. She says, I think you should just go ahead and Google her and see if you can find her on the internet. And he did. And lo and behold, it was a Victoria's Secret model and not the person he was conversing with. And when they had to come clean, I think he did finally confront her on it. And, it turns out there's usually something that someone feels embarrassed about or ashamed about or unlovable about, or this is a really funky little game that they like to have some power over, really controlling other people and having full control of that relationship, because it can never be a real one. And so what he found out in this case was that the woman was very overweight. And I think this is actually probably very common out there. Somebody's either very overweight or a man is very short, or there has something to do with the way they look that they're concerned about.
They feel inferior about for some reason.
Yeah, I think they just feel like nobody's going to love them because they probably have had their share of rejection out in the world. And so this is a safe place for them to engage in it's
and have somebody talk to them in a way that they would like to hear, even though it's not really towards the true person, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's not real.
You can flirt. You flirt, and it's fun and exciting. And you get the juices are flowing, right?
But I think it's even more than that. I think some of these people truly feel like they have fallen in love with someone. That they really talk about, they send those texts that I love you. I think it starts with just let me get some attention. But I think people can really get pulled into the Facebook and really think that it's something real and their feelings are real for them. It just may not be based on anything real. So, and to this person's credit, he heard her and he understood her concerns and he still enjoyed her as a friend. And he wasn't really intending to actually meet her one day and really kind of consummate, not in a literal way, but maybe a figurative way, the relationship. Sure. And so they continue to be friends on Facebook, but it doesn't always have a happy ending like that.
Yeah, I get friend requests from really attractive girls, and I've realized there's a pattern. There's a pattern to it. Because I don't know why. Honestly, I mean, I know. Okay, somebody might find me attractive, but some girl that was born in the 80s. Well, I graduated high school in '83, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a pattern where like these girls are born somewhere in the 80s. Usually it's like 87 or something like that, and they're all pretty in their picture and whatever. And then they're sending me a Facebook, and I see we've got no mutual friends.
Right.
Like, so how does she find me? And then I look and I see every friend that she has on there is a man.
Yeah, that's a sign.
So like, what does she do? Why is she sending me? Is it even a she? Is it
right.
Is it some person who's just trying to get my information to somehow sucker me into sending money so they could come visit me or something? I mean,
right. I think there's a lot of scams out there.
Scam, some sort of scam, yeah.
And for those of you who are watching, if you have had an experience, I would say either positive or negative on Facebook when it's come to creating and developing relationships, we would love to hear from you. So please call in at 323-247-7443. Or if you're on Skype, you can Skype in at LA Talk Live. So either way, we would love to hear your stories and get a take on what's going on out there, because I think this is now a huge issue for people. I was talking to my daughter earlier today, and one of the things that she was saying is that on Facebook, because I use Facebook primarily for business. I don't really do anything personal on Facebook. But so people, they have a status part. So you can say, I'm interested in dating, or I'm single, or I'm interested in girls, or I'm interested in women or men, or I'm now dating so-and-so, or I'm in a committed relationship with so-and-so. And you can actually track somebody's, they're really publicizing their relationship and the status and how it's growing and how it's changing. And then what's also really sad is that I guess it can also end. I have also, I won't say his name, but I have a friend, and he had fallen in love, and he was so excited, and his status was, I'm involved with so-and-so, and then I'm engaged to so-and-so, and then I'm married to so-and-so, and I don't really see him that often, but I started to get some notifications from Facebook, and all of a sudden I didn't see his status anymore. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if anything happened,
Right.
know? So, I mean, it's an interesting world.
Did you find out?
I haven't, no, it's eventually I'll send him an email or give a call, but it's that, it's like thinking someone's pregnant when they're not. You don't want to say, did you get divorced? And I mean, that's like really bad.
You can say, how's the wife? How's the wife?
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
I've actually been criticized from a couple of friends that I've been too open on Facebook. They're like, Stephen, is anything sacred about you? I mean, we know when you're in Ohio. We know when you're going on this job. We know when you went on a blind date. We know when, it's like so much stuff that I put out there. And so sometimes I have to question, okay, what is my motive? Why am I putting something like that out there? And then another friend was criticizing, saying, people on their smartphones, they're spending so much time on Facebook and so much time in those other places that they're not in the now.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife, when I was married, used to be very upset, rightfully so, when I'd be spending a lot of time on Facebook or texting other people instead of being in the moment with her.
Uh-huh. Well, if you're at the dinner table and you're busy texting, in fact, we have not had a discussion about you texting. You're a little texter. Yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
I did text during one of our episodes.
Right.
It was somebody texting me to say they wanted to call in, but yes, I sure.
And I
was reprimanded.
He would very gently.
Yes.
It's like we have a rule at home: no cell phones during dinner while we're eating dinner, and it's during the show, no texting. Okay. All right, so that's one of the things. The other nice thing, though, about Facebook, and I think this is to your point, you can engage in a sense of community online. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are lonely and they don't have a huge support system and they don't have a sense of community, or they may not even be in a relationship. And it's one way that they can start to feel a connection with other human beings. And for some people, I would say that have some social phobias or other various issues, and they're going to have a really hard time going out face-to-face to meet people. Mm-hmm. The internet at least provides an outlet for them.
Right.
In terms of really being able to connect with other human beings.
And I like what you said about the support. Like, how long ago did you write your book?
It's been a year and a half.
So, and then my book came out last year. And it's like, I know another author who's writing their book, and I tell her I used Facebook as a cheerleading squad. Mm-hmm. And I would send little updates of, hey, I just finished, second half of chapter 2, and hey, I'm working on chapter 3, and then it's just like all these people out there that just like so supportive, and they're like, you can do it, Stephen, you can do it, and so I don't know if you used Facebook like that, but I certainly did to get myself pumped up, and I knew that they wanted it. It's like I knew I had to finish that book because all these people have been cheering me on, and it wasn't just for me anymore; it was for them.
Yeah, I'm actually, I have to confess, I'm a newbie to Facebook, and my sense is I'm so much of a face-to-face person. And I just thought, this isn't for me. And then I went on primarily because of the book and getting that going. And but it's an interesting thing. I'm part of this little support group, marketing media support group. Anyways, we comment for each other every now and then. And I've gotten to know people in other states, even through the little comments. And it's kind of nice. It's this interesting way to banter and just have conversations or just kind of get a feel of what people are up to. So I think it really gives us wonderful things. So I'm not in any way bashing Facebook because really the entire world is on it. But at the same time, my question is, when you use this technology, when it comes to relationships, to understand what are its limitations, and actually then where do you need to be cautious, like in terms of are people really who they are? And I think you really need to be careful because there are a lot of people out there who are not totally honest with who they are because it's very safe. You know, there's a separation between you and looking someone in the eye. You know,
Yeah.
it makes a difference.
I've seen people write things that they wouldn't say, face to face.
Right.
But it's like, oh, okay, they'll write it, or then they'll post something like, "Do you really realize that more, everybody can read that, and make, like I know a 16-year-old that's like posting like profanity and and stuff like that and drug stuff. It's like, really, do you realize that your relatives can see this, or do you just not care?" And then when the safety issue is like, okay, well, do you really want to let the world know that you're actually not going to be in your home for the next 2 weeks?
Right.
And that if somebody knows where you live, they can drive over there and,
Right.
do whatever.
Well, the safety issues can, go off the chart, especially when it comes to minors. I mean, you have to be really, really, really careful. I know with my kids, there was very strict rules about, well, I guess when they were young enough, it was MySpace was the thing at the time, and then it moved into Facebook. But yeah, you have to constantly, I think, be very vigilant for the parents out there to talk to your kids and let them know what's going on and what's not going on. They can never, ever, ever, ever meet anybody that they met through Facebook.
Do you
Never.
have an age? Do you have like an age limit that you suggest for parents?
I think it depends on your kid, and it depends on the maturity of your kid, what the relationship is between you and your child, like how good is the communication? Do you feel like you can trust them into handling the responsibility? I think it's like with any parenting decision. A lot of it has to do with who your child is, knowing who they are, how much they can handle in terms of responsibility. And the other thing, I just think you have to be vigilant. This whole thing, I hate to say this, but this whole thing of like teenagers, deserve privacy. No, they don't deserve privacy. If you're a smart parent, you're on top of it. You are on top of it because teenagers have the judgment of teenagers. Their brains are still developing and their judgment is off, and they think their judgment is, on top of the world. And, if you're not really keeping an eye on things and watching, then your kid can get into trouble. So I say forego privacy for the safety of your kid and to be on top of it. And your kid doesn't need to know. They don't need to know that you're.
Well, they have like there's passwords, stuff like that to get in. So
yeah, I would say if
I think the parents should have access to the password.
They should have access to the password, and honestly, they need to be checking in regularly with it. I mean, my kids are a little bit older, and I was lucky because it was only a few years ago they even had their own laptops. I mean, I remember in my household we had one computer, and it was in the living room. It was just a different deal. I think it gets harder and harder because we have now iPads. Let me get this right: iPads, iPhones, laptop. I mean, we have so much technology, and kids are having access to that technology at earlier and earlier and earlier ages. And with that presents, I think, a whole bunch of problems. I don't know what you experienced with your son on this issue, and I don't know if it's different. I have daughters, so I was really, really careful. But it doesn't matter gender. What was it like for your son in terms of allowing him access to all these sites?
When he's 16 now, and he has shown that he is a very responsible kid. Mm-hmm. So right now, like I don't know what his password is. His mom doesn't know, but we really have no. He hasn't given us a single reason for us to say, what, I need to go in and check what you're doing, because he'll tell me about sites that he's found on the internet and different things, and he'll explain it to me, and he goes, yeah. I saw that site and I immediately knew it wasn't appropriate, and I it's like, dad, it was like awful, it's like, I looked at it for like a moment, and then I shut it down and went somewhere else.
Right.
But it's like the fact that we have that open relationship, you can tell me about it.
Right.
Now on Facebook, because here you can see pictures, and you know that there's like predators out there, that are like trying to find kids for awful reasons. And so we made sure that for like the first couple of years, on Facebook, he couldn't have his like whatever the real city that he was from, so right. Maybe it would slow somebody down, or they wouldn't know at least this kid was in Los Angeles, maybe they think he was in Oregon or wherever,
right.
So just to throw somebody off.
Yeah, throw them off.
Yeah, send him to Oregon. No.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
Yeah, but anyway, he's doing really, he's done really very responsible with it, and he's he's got his typical teen things, and you know what I find is very peculiar is how some parents will allow their kids to have a Facebook account or MySpace and ban and block their parents.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah.
so like I have a relative and their daughter has blocked the parents, you know, and they like won't friend me, so I can't get on there and see.
So they
you
haven't
know?
pushed it.
But yeah, they haven't. They're like, well, you know, the kids need their privacy and, you know, and whatever. And it's like, no. When they move out, then they can have all the privacy that they want.
See, there's all kinds of things you can do when you have two kids, because one gets old enough and gets mature enough, and they're friends with the younger one, and then you say, okay, can you just check?
Yeah.
Is there anything I need to know? Just let me know if there's anything important that I need to know. And you know, if they're a good daughter, then they go ahead and they do that for you. So there's all kinds of things that you can do with Facebook. But in terms of dating, you know, the internet, whether you are meeting someone on Facebook or you're actually going on a dating site, it's, again, this is the complexities that we live in, because on the one hand, what's nice about it is it's opened up the world to people. You know, you're not limited to somebody who maybe works at your same place or lives in your same town or goes to your same school. You know, it opens you up to meeting, I'm sure, interesting people from all over the world. And that's a plus. But the minus in that is that, again, it also opens yourself up to people who may not have your best interest in mind, or there's then become the issue of what do you do if you've found somebody on the other side of the country, or on the other side of the world for that matter, and you're having feelings for them, and now what do you do with that? Can that relationship move forward or not? And I think in forming relationships, the issue with the internet is that people think that they're creating intimacy when they're not. I think this is a huge issue, and I think it's going to be a huge issue for the generation that's growing up with the internet and Facebook. So my sense is that people really need to learn and understand that, because when you reveal yourself online, one, you may not really be revealing who you are. You may be doing it, creating a persona or something how you want to be seen. And there's nothing like two people looking each other in the eye and having to be honest about something. You know, you can read someone's energy. You can read the look in their eyes. You can see emotions in the eyes. That's where real connection and intimacy lives. And I'm concerned that too many people, play, I put this in quotes, like they play intimacy, thinking that it's real, and it's not. And then they get terribly hurt and disappointed along the way. Like their world can be shattered.
There's a saying in sales, and I've been in sales for so many years, and that is undersell and over-deliver. Uh-huh. And the philosophy...
I wish everybody would do that.
Yeah, the philosophy... So you understand the philosophy of that.
Yeah, I understand the philosophy.
And so I'm thinking, okay, I met this girl on Facebook, and then we decided that we were going to meet for lunch one day, mm-hmm. right? And I was complimenting her on her pictures, mm-hmm. right? She really has nice pictures of herself, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then she told me a little bit about, I touched him up a little bit. I'm like,
there's your first side.
Okay, whatever,
Right.
But when I saw her, there's no way she could live up to the images that she portrayed of herself. Mm-hmm. So then you can't help but have somebody be disappointed. I mean, I don't want to sound shallow when I say that, right? But when you have in your mind, here's somebody who looks really one way, mm-hmm. and then you show up and realize they're 4 inches shorter than you thought, or they really didn't show that receding hairline on the picture
right.
that well, or
right.
or wow, I didn't realize she had such acne scars or whatever. I mean, not that I wouldn't date her because of the acne scars. But it's like, just be, can you not be yourself? I mean, are you hard up, or are you, have you had so much rejection?
Much rejection that you're stalking me.
So much rejection that, you're trying to you're right. misrepresenting yourself.
Right.
To try to hook a guy in.
Right. I think it's the idea of being deceived that bothers people the most. And you're right. I think people, I have said this comment over and over again. I mean, when you're doing internet dating, and internet dating is great, it has its place. So please know that I'm not knocking all the aspects of internet dating, but you really take on a catalog shopping mentality. You're going through these profiles like you're shopping from a catalog. And when you're shopping from a catalog, this person is an object. It's not a real person. And that's, I think, the problem. Things are objectified so much. And I think in that case, when you feel like somebody misrepresented themselves, two things, I think your reactions are really normal. One is, I don't like being misled or deceived, because nobody likes that. And then two, well, what does that say about you? What does that say about your sense of security? But when you're putting yourself out in a catalog, marketing and sales, what they do to those photos. When it doesn't matter if it's a dress, it's food, if it's a blender. I mean, a lot of work goes into those catalogs, and that's exactly, in a sense, what internet dating has, I think, has become, which is a shame.
Yeah, I agree. If I can interject, because
of course, the voice.
Because I met my significant others that way, and before we met, I kept mine really simple. For those who seem interested in me, I'll just say, hello, my name is Veneric. Leave it alone. Don't go into detail. And if they respond, I say, thank you, so-and-so. It was nice meeting you this way. If you feel comfortable, here's my number. Give me a call. So this way I eliminate that false representation they may give. And so they can hear what I sound like over the phone, and I can hear what they sound like. Because like Stephen, because they could be a male.
Right. You never know.
You never know.
It could be a 12-year-old boy too.
Exactly. You never know. And don't tell me you love me after the second message.
Right. That's not.
You never saw me. Yeah. I'm not that insecure. I'm not that hard up as he used that word. Stephen used that word. So come on now. Don't tell me you love me and you never saw me at all, and now you want me to send you money because you need books for school. And you want to come over here? If you,
there are so many red flags in that scenario.
Exactly. And I would say, I tell you what, you get your behind over here. I got a hookup for you. I got a job for you. You can get it. You can get work. I can help you get work, but you pay your way to get over here, and that eliminates them calling me and bothering me anymore.
That reminds me. There was a woman in Africa who contacted me. And she was like all nice, and she'd say, "Hey, how are you? Oh, you're so cute and whatever." And then she's like, "Oh, things are just like really terrible here, financially wise and whatever." And she goes, "And I need to start my own business, And she's like, "Is there any way you could help me?" I'm like, "Well, what help do you need?" I could give some advice, right? And she's like, "Well, what help do you need?" She's like, "Well, I need money." And I said, Well, don't you have local banks there that you could talk to about getting a loan? Let's go through the traditional way. Why some stranger, in America?
Yeah.
Why would I possibly send you some money?
Yeah, but the reality is that it works because people keep doing that scam, and so it's got to work at some point.
I had somebody actually send me a check for X amount of money, so I can go and cash it. I knew it wasn't real.
Oh my God!
I knew it wasn't real.
Okay, there's a whole story behind that. I don't know if I want to hear.
To make a long story short, they wanted me to open up an account and put this money in. It was all a scam, so they can.
I heard of that scam.
Do that kind of stuff. So it was like crazy.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I really think you need to be careful. So, okay, on that note, we are going to get ready to take a break. When we get back, though, please call us. We'd love to hear your stories and your comments and questions. And again, you can call in at 323-247-7443. This is Julie Orlov with Stephen Tako. You are listening to Pathways to Love, and we will be right back.
Since you left here, I've been cleaning, scrubbing the plates and weeding out the garden, dear. I can't fall asleep till your mystery is slowly glowing from the shore. I have not failed to be what you'd expect of me, swallowing glass just to stay pure. All the birds are heading down south, but you're staying up north, you say. I've got jackets, blankets, and sheets. It's going to be a cold December. It could be warm, you see, statue next to me, swimming away from us in snow.
Are you ready to enjoy the Maui lifestyle? You can have it all by owning real estate on the Paradise Island of Maui. Dennis Rush, a 22-year Maui resident and real estate broker, brings his wealth of experience and market knowledge to add value to your Maui real estate understanding, providing a level of service as unique and exceptional as the island of Maui itself. The magical island of Maui was voted the most exclusive resort island in the world by Condé Nast Traveler, and keep in mind, Maui is only a simple, non-stop flight away. Hawaii Business Magazine Top 100 Realtors awarded Dennis Rush the 2011 fourth top realtor on the island of Maui. Go to www.dennisrush.com to view all of the amazing properties currently available in the Maui MLS system. Whatever your needs or desires, Dennis Rush will provide a private consultation for any Maui properties your heart desires. You will be in good hands. Once again, go to www.dennisrush.com. That's www.dennisrush.com. Contact Dennis today to start your Maui lifestyle now. Dennis Rush, proud sponsors of the Dawn Christie Show and LA Talk Live.
I've been waiting, pacing along the halls.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. This is Pathways to Love, and I'm your host, Julie Orlov, and I am here today with my co-host, Stephen Tako, and we are talking about love and the internet if you're just joining us. And I have to say, I'm so excited that in studio, live in studio, is my daughter, Nicole Orlov. Welcome, Nicole. Hi. So she's been hanging out and listening, and I thought we would bring her on just to get an opinion of kind of what her take is, because Nicole, you know, you've grown up with the internet and Facebook and all that. So tell me a little bit about what is your take on, you know, what's the pulse? What is the pulse on Facebook when it comes to your generation?
Well, it kind of speaks to what you talked about a little bit earlier about kind of how you can track relationships going through. And it's definitely almost like a step, like beyond even like monogamy or going steady or what have it, to have it be Facebook official. You'll know a couple has been dating for 6 months, but then it's on the internet. So then I know about people's lives, all these people I went to high school with that I would really don't care to know much about. And I'm sure everyone who has Facebook, like, I really don't want to see any more pictures of your dog or your kid or whatever it is, but you know what they're doing and you can see who their boyfriend is, even if you haven't seen them in 8 years.
But so you keep collecting all these friends. Is there a status to how many friends you have? Is there a pressure to have a lot of friends on Facebook?
Not particularly. I think it's
How many do you have?
like 600.
That's it?
Yeah, I know.
That's it. She's got more friends than I do. What you're talking
I've
about?
got like 3,100.
Okay, all right. All right. Now I feel really sad. Okay. Though I've only been on for like a year or so, that's my excuse. Okay. So all right. And with these friends, I'm just curious, out of the 600, how many of those relationships do you really care about and you really track what their posts are, what's going on with them?
I honestly don't care about any of it, but with the phone and everything, like you were saying, you just kind of, it's something to do to like kill time. If you're waiting for something, you just go through the feeds and you can see what they're doing.
Okay. And so you've never had the experience of like finding a guy that you kind of liked on Facebook? Has that ever happened with you? Like a friend of a friend or something that's popped up?
No.
No.
Everyone I'm friends with on Facebook, I've met personally.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So you meet them first and then you check them out. And then, okay. So here's the other issue that I wanted to bring up to everybody was the whole issue of how you can for lack of a better word, you can research or you can even stalk people on Facebook. I have to confess, I've found myself once on Facebook, probably a little bored, and all of a sudden thinking, I wonder what this person's up to. And I search and I see if they're on Facebook, and then if they're not on Facebook, I have to Google search them and see what I can find. And I think that can be really fun. And I think it can be fun to connect with people you haven't seen in a really long time. And it's also caused a lot of havoc. And I think you can get addicted to kind of eavesdropping.
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's called trolling.
Oh, there's a name for it.
Yeah.
I'm so naive.
That's right, trolling, right? Yeah, and so a troller. Like I'm pretty active on Facebook, and then there's sometimes I'll go through a period where it's like, gosh, nobody seems to really be reading any of my stuff, right? But then all of a sudden I'll talk to somebody, and then they'll say, oh, I've been reading this about you and that about you, and I'm like, really? I had no idea that you were reading any of my stuff. And they're like, yeah, I like to troll, but I don't really post on there. So there are people out there that are reading all the stuff and looking at our pictures that never actually hit like or, hey, what a cute dog you have or anything like that.
But they've seen the pictures of your dog back to 2007. They have. And if you were asking what the pulse of the generation, Facebook stalking. That's what people do.
Well, and I imagine that if you, especially for your age group, Nicole, that if you've had a bad breakup or something's going on, if you get jealousy issues or you're not sure what your ex is up to or what the guy you like is up to, I mean, I think you could go crazy, right?
Well, that's why you block them. That's why, like,
you delete from friends, and then you have to block.
Like my ex-wife and I, we're blocked.
You're blocked.
Yeah, she blocked me.
Were you eavesdropping on her life?
No. No, it's just that, when you have an ex, even like she and I parted on good terms and all that stuff. But it's like, honestly, I don't want to see that she's going out on a date with somebody,
Right.
and she doesn't want to see me all laughing and having a cocktail
time
with, some buxom blonde.
Right.
So
I think so. In other words, you could torture yourself with Facebook if somebody doesn't block you by having to really see.
Oh yeah, an obsession, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And a painful obsession at that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's like I know of someone that had a mutual hobby with her ex, and so what she did after a painful breakup is that she just continued to go to the same place and watch that whole new relationship emerge, had to watch them fall in love. And she would just say, I'd go home and cry all the time. And I would say, honey, why are you going? Find another place. I think people really torture themselves.
You brought up a good topic, and anybody that's out there, boy, if you find yourself, and you're the expert here, but it's like, if you find yourself, spending this time that you going in there and digging in to find what emails somebody has sent, or digging in there and looking through all the pictures to try to figure out, it's like, if the relationship is over, it's like, why put yourself through that torture of looking at all the pictures?
I think it's so painful, and it's hard to let go. I mean, from the therapeutic perspective, people have some people can let go fairly easily. It depends on the circumstances or the person. But I think every now and then one person finds somebody in their life that they get hooked into, and it feels like an addiction. It's very hard to disconnect and really detach and be done with it. And people have to go through a lot of really injurious behaviors before they can finally do it. So there is help. So I would say if you're in that place, call me, because there is a way to avoid all that pain.
I imagine it'd be so liberating to actually block that person and not go in there and see them anymore.
Yeah,
right?
and here's the other thing, because people can play games. This is the other thing. So like a healthy person would just block. They have an ex, and they know the ex is kind of stalking them or having a hard time letting go. And they do it's kind to just block them and say, you need to move on. You need to move on. But there are other people that just can thrive on that attention, and they like to play with people's emotions, and they kind of let them go, but they kind of just keep them a little bit in so that if they really want their ego fed, they can pull them back in. And it can be crazy making.
Well, can I share something with you?
Sure.
And it's just a suspicion, and maybe you can tell me, or you guys can tell me if you've ever heard anybody doing this. I have a suspicion.
Okay.
But when my wife and I split up, there's somebody else that I ended up blocking, right? Because they're connected to my wife too much, my ex-wife too much, and I didn't want them reporting to her every single thing that I was doing, right? And
Right.
so I blocked them, right?
Okay.
I'm suspicious that this person then went out and created a whole new
Persona.
fictitious person, a Facebook page, right?
Uh-huh.
Whole new name or whatever. Probably sent friend requests to some of our mutual friends or whatever, who some people just, well, I do it a lot of times too, but blindly accept, friend requests from people, And so then I look at it and say, oh, well, we've got mutual friends. I don't know who this person is. And then accept their friendship too.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they have
find
access
it.
to all my stuff again.
I'm telling you,
It's sick though.
it is, but it's, you know what? It used to be you just drove by their house, you just drove by their house, or you went to where they hang out after work, or,
It's all spying, right?
But now we've got the internet. And so people can act out their
It's
crazy.
easier.
It's easier, and it can be done in all these different ways, and it keeps people hanging on to unhealthy relationships they're not moving on. And if you're online way too much, I guarantee you are not out there having real healthy intimate relationships, be it with love partners, friends, family. I mean, if you're on that if you're on that computer too much, I say shut it down and get out there.
Do it now, today.
Yes.
It seems to me you also feel it kind of takes the art out of stalking.
But yes, it's just too easy. There's something about, really being able to accidentally, stop in at the bar that, your ex-boyfriend, loves to hang out with accidentally, or you have to do it. Yeah.
Every day for like 4 weeks.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. So
Well,
I think
there's not
very
just Facebook, at least on Facebook, when you're communicating with people, you can see their picture. What I don't understand is I don't understand Twitter, and it's like, do people actually meet on Twitter? I mean,
I can speak from a business perspective, not from a personal perspective, but there are, again, interesting preliminary relationships. I can't even use relationships. That's not the right word, but preliminary acquaintances or connections that get made via Twitter. And I know some people that have really tapped into and found really valuable business resources for them. But it's a first step. That's what people need to understand. The internet is not where reality lives. It's a place to meet and then go and live reality. And I think too many people live these virtual lives, and that's what the problem is. So if you meet on Twitter, I've heard this before. So you meet on Twitter, then you move up to Facebook. So then you have a more meaningful relationship through Facebook. And then maybe, you actually have a phone conversation, and then you can actually move up to meeting for coffee, one day and seeing if this is a friendship or a business relationship or a love relationship, a romantic relationship that can bloom.
But you have to send them money first so they can come visit you.
Yeah, don't.
From Africa,
right?
If you're lucky.
Not just Africa, from Ghana.
Yeah, don't send money. No, don't take money. Don't send money. No. That's where you're getting in trouble. Unless they've actually purchased something from you that's a legitimate product. That's all that stuff. But so, yeah, and then here's the other thing. And this is the one thing that I've done that I've used the internet for, is I have checked out a man who was interested in me. So even
You checked me out?
Yeah. You know what? As a matter of fact, I did check Steven out. I thought this guy might be a great co-host. Let me Google him and really check him. I did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, if you Google me, you'll find all kinds of interesting
I know,
things about
and I
me.
think it was very brave of me to still contact you. No.
All kinds of strange videos.
But here's the interesting thing, because the man, and I'm in a lovely committed relationship, and I live with this guy. But when I first, I thought, there's something about him that I wanted to check out when I first met him. I Googled him, and I got enough information to really pull together a fairly decent profile. I have to say, I dug enough, and I thought now, and there was some things in it that I knew were important that I wanted to learn more about. But I was also smart enough to say I didn't want to go on the second date and say, look, I Googled you. Here's my checkoff list of things we need to go over. Because I don't think that would go over very well. So I had it. But I know in the back of my mind, I said, these are the things I need to look out for and see if they match and get more information. And of course, he never, well, he knows about this now, but he didn't know about it at the time. And so slowly but surely, and it was interesting because some of the stuff on the internet about him really would have given me an inaccurate description of who he was. It would have exaggerated something, a trait or a hobby or an interest, and other things might have underplayed, you know what I mean? So it's very, very interesting, but I held back and I said, okay, let me see what he kind of gives up and when, because that was also kind of, I thought would be a little interesting to find out.
So you're testing him, huh?
I was, and so, I didn't think I was, but I think if I'm really honest, I think I was. And that's another controversy. People can, if they, and people do this all the time. Like, I don't think he Googled me, but they do go on my website. And once you go on my website, you get a whole lot about me anyways. And Googling me actually can be, I think, a little intimidating for a man. Because if you Google me, honestly, you have like 300,000 hits right off the bat on me. So there's a lot out there. I know you may have 3,000 Facebook friends, but I have 300,000 imprints if you Google my name. So there you go.
Well, hey, our show alone, has gotten we had over 200,000 just for November. Huh?
Yeah, our first month out. Yeah. So, and word spreads and all those things. But so the point of all this is that this is my question. All right, this is my question to everybody in the room. Veneric, are you listening? Because I'm talking to you too. Okay. All right.
We got to give the phone number out one last time, right?
Okay, go ahead. So, because we're running out of time. Go ahead.
So if you got a quick call and you want to say something quick, 323-247-7443. Call us now.
Okay, so now I lost my question. See, this is what happens. No. This is what happens when you do that to someone at my age. Now I forgot the question. Okay, it's coming back though. So here's the thing. Is it wise? Do we take advantage of the technology when it comes to love and meeting new people and creating those, that sense of, do we take advantage of it? Or is it better to really allow relationships to unfold like they did since the beginning of time, that we just get to know someone through shared experiences? Because I can argue it both ways. Because, if you find out someone has a felony record or something, that could save you a lot of heartache and potentially some mess. But, on the other hand, there's something to be said about a relationship really forming in a natural and old-fashioned kind of way. So what do you think, Stephen?
I'm a firm believer in doing as much research as you can.
Are you really?
Yeah. Before actually meeting with somebody, like if I was going to hire somebody, to work with me, if I was going to go out on a date, and I knew what her name was, I guess I wouldn't know what her name was, but I would say, I want to find out as much information as I can, because I don't know, I guess I want to utilize whatever opportunity I have rather than just, well, I'm going to go out there, and it's almost like, well, should I shovel the snow because it's good exercise, or should I just use the snow blower?
Right.
It's like, I'm going to use whatever technology I have that's going to help me, because, it's a fast-moving world these days. We've got all this stuff going on that's so quick. Do I really want to spend 3 hours, when within the first 5 minutes, I might not know. I might know that I'm not interested in this girl.
Okay, so now I'm just going to bring an interesting point, because I get what you're saying, and there's a lot of validity to that. Now, if you did that to someone that you had just met, let's say you met at a party or some, whatever, you were on a set one day and you met someone and you exchanged cards, and then you did your research, and there was something on that research that bothered you, and that said, okay, done, I'm not calling her. Now, in the old days, let's just say you would have called her because you don't know anything about her.
Right.
And you're attracted enough to have exchanged cards, and you're getting to know one another. And then after a true relationship and attachment and connection and a real love has developed, she discloses something about herself that is in her past that, let's say, she's embarrassed about. But now she feels safe enough to do that. See, now that you're 6 months in, let's say, you're not going to be probably so quick to dismiss her as you were at the 6 minute mark.
But if it was that big of a deal, and she's posting it, if she's posting it somewhere where I could find it online pretty easily, then it's kind of like, all her friends already know, I would think, like if she's the type of girl that's like bragging about the abortion that she just had, and just like, well, I just lost another, whatever. It's like, okay, well then I instantly know that that's somebody that I'm not going to want to be with. Or if I see a bunch of pictures with her, and it seems like all the pictures with her and friends, she's like drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Are you listening, Nicole, to this?
It's
Go ahead.
I'm listening.
Okay.
It's like, I would like to enjoy a cocktail with a girl, but if I see that she's some party animal girl, then I already know this is the circle that she's in, and I'm not interested in being in that circle. She might be the sweetest, nicest girl, but if all the photos are her, with alcohol, it's just not the right fit for me and where I'm at in my life.
Okay, so you want to save yourself time.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I think, I think there's merits to both. I can really see where you can eliminate a lot of potential problems or drama or pain in your future. But I also think you run the risk of eliminating maybe a potential great love. And I think everyone needs to decide for themselves.
Yes, I wanted to piggyback on that because on one of our other shows, it was stated that a person can be attracted to somebody with issues, whether they're a serial killer, they could, things of that manner. The heart wants what the heart wants. And not to go into detail, but she explained that it's possible to be attracted to a person that's totally opposite because they have a certain flaws that you may not particularly care for. But just like you said, Julie, 6 months into it, you've gotten to know this person's other qualities, and they feel comfortable about telling you because now they feel as though you're not going to judge them because of that one mistake in their life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then if in the event that that person does crush them because of that one mistake, then it may take them a little longer to want to open up to somebody else who may really understand and don't mind the fact that, okay, we human and we do make mistakes.
Yeah, it's very complicated. I mean, relationships and actually the chemistry between two people and what makes a relationship work is extremely complex. And, there's the other issues. Just because you're attracted to someone does not mean that they make for a great relationship. So there's so many things to sort out.
Exactly.
So many different dynamics that are all happening at the same time. And frankly, when you think about it, it's like a miracle that people actually, that there are healthy relationships out there because there's so many things that are working against it, which really, as I tell people in the Pathway to Love, that the nature of relationships is that they're here to challenge us. They're here to mirror for us what we need to see, about ourselves and about our loved ones. And that's the gift that they provide. But I think people misunderstand the nature of relationships and what they're really about. And that's what gets them into trouble. So they get off on the wrong foot. They're already starting with the wrong preconditions. And
I do understand. I do kind of like the mystery of discovering these things about a girl, and that's like that's one of the bad things about like if you were to date. I'm sure you've probably dated a lot of Playboy bunnies. And so there's the mystery is gone because you've already seen it all, on the centerfold. But it's like, so there's certain things about girls that that you want to discover in a slow fashion. But if some girl has made some sort of mistake at one point in her life or whatever, that's, I think we can all get over something like that. We should be able to, I think, but it's like, I don't know how if you don't like profanity and you all of a sudden you're looking at some guy's Facebook, and he's like, F this and, and shit, whatever, stuff like that. It's like, boy, he sure didn't come across that way when I met him because people tend to be on their best behavior.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So then you see the underlying, like, wow, what is this person really like?
And we don't know what that's about. Is that because that's how he talks to his guy friends, but he would never talk to
A lady.
his lady like that? Well, there are people who can
Yeah.
actually make that
True,
distinction.
true, yeah.
You know, I mean, I tell my guy all the time, I think, not a joke for me. Save that one for your guy friends.
Yeah.
Say that all the time.
Yeah, like I tell my friend,
Nope.
when I'm watching football, don't pay attention to nothing I do or say, because that's another part of me that comes out, and is nothing directed to you. So if you hear me bleep 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 bleeping and all that, and you know I'm not a player, so I have no control over the fact that my favorite team just messed up. So don't pay me no mind, because I'm not like that for real.
Right.
You know, one other thing that I've researched when I've looked up girls is that I look to see like if they have pictures with them. Like, there's girls that I'm interested in asking out, but then I'll look and I'll see them like with a guy in pictures, you know.
Uh-huh.
But then I'm like, gosh, how do I find out? Is this their brother, you know, or is this their
Yeah,
lover?
well, ask them out. You'll find out really quick.
Yep.
See, there you go.
ask them.
See, that's somebody, nothing personal,
Yeah.
but that's the internet. See, now you're going to still be in this research mode as opposed to picking up a phone and saying,
You want to go out with me?
do you want to go out with me? Like that old-fashioned stuff. Nicole, I'm dying to ask you this because you do not date via the internet. You actually do it the old-fashioned way. You meet people in real life, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your take on it? What do you prefer and why?
Internet dating, like versus real life.
Yeah, like how to get to know somebody. Would
Or do
you
you prefer arranged marriages?
Arranged marriages would be really just for the best.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
How great is
I'll
that?
be traded for a goat, maybe a heifer or
Oh,
something.
I'm going to get on that, honey. First thing next week,
Can't
okay?
wait to see what comes out of that.
Lawyer,
Oh,
doctor.
I would pick someone really good for you. What are you talking about? we already fantasized about him. Anyways, okay. So go ahead. Tell me, like, would you Google a guy that you met at a party, or would you rather just get to know him?
I definitely looked them up on Facebook I don't really, probably Facebook. There's not much about people on Google until they get a little older.
Right. I guess at your age, it's Facebook or nothing.
Yeah.
So you will look them up.
Yeah.
And has there ever been a guy that you liked, and then when you looked him up on Facebook, you said, not for me?
Not really.
Okay.
The one thing though that I was thinking about, what do you guys think about when you start stalking the ex-girlfriend? If you're dating someone and then you find their ex-girlfriend on Facebook and start looking at them.
You know what, you could there are so many ways to get in trouble and torture yourself, because then you're going to look at the ex-girlfriend and say, I think I'm prettier than she is. No, maybe she's prettier than I, and then you're going crazy. Yeah, that's a whole other
You're
world.
just praying for her to get fat, just looking.
Oh my God.
Would you look at that bitch?
Yeah. So there's all kinds of areas that one can torture themselves and get into trouble when it comes to being online. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, can I say something that's really I meant to say earlier in the show, and it'll be really bugging me if I don't say it.
Get it off your chest, Steve.
Thank you,
We don't
thank
want
you.
you to leave here with holding on to anything.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. So we found out there's a little group of us, and we found out that like there's this girl. She makes these posts like on this group that we're on, right?
Uh-huh.
And
You're so still in high school. How old are you?
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, she totally did this.
God, this is why I love Steve.
So she would post on this group, right?
Uh-huh.
And then she had like 3 profiles. We didn't know this, right? She had 3 profiles. So she is posting, and then her other profiles are all liking her post and saying, yeah, I agree with her.
She's promoting herself.
And it's herself. All 3 people. All 3 people
That sounds
are
very
her
time-consuming.
posting. It's sick.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Again, that just falls into the market. She's into marketing and sales of herself as like a human being for relationships. Okay, if you're doing that, please stop it. And if you can't stop it, please call me. All right, I think we're ready to close up so let me say a couple things. If you do need more information about the Pathway to Love, you can always go to my website, or about me for that matter. You can Google me and find me very easily at julieorlov.com or thepathwaytolove.com. I will be holding a live half-day workshop, by the way, in February. I'll tell more about that, but if you want more information, go on the website, look at events, go on to February. I think it's after... couple weeks after Valentine's Day, that big holiday that involves my work. Okay. And you can always, now everyone knows you can find Stephen Tako on Facebook, and he'll almost befriend anybody. So if you need a friend, go look up
I'll
Stephen
be
Tako.
your friend.
Yeah.
You need a friend. Yeah, just look me up, and if, if you seem reasonable, I'll accept you as a friend.
Okay, so please take good care of yourself and your relationships. The internet's a great place to meet people. It's a great place to connect. We live our lives on it, but don't live your relationships on it. Go out there and have real relationships. And have a great week. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. You've been watching Pathways to Love. This is Julie Orlov, and have a great week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Well, since I come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like the dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool